Bobby, thanks so much for joining us here on InFocus. Can you tell us a bit about your role with the Treaty 8 Trappers Association?
Yeah, I'm the board member. I was elected for looking after the Big Stone region, which is one of the biggest regions in Treaty 8. So our role is trying to get the association going, which was mandated back in, I believe, 2009 by the elders to start an association to help trappers in Treaty 8. As we all know, the government's trying to impose their ways for trapping. Like we're always seems like it's always a fight with everything, but basically what was happening was we have the First Nations traplines, or family traplines, that were being handed down to non-family members, or which we were not even First Nations in most cases. So we're just trying to help protect our family traplines and get them passed down to the proper family members and relatives.
So what happens in that case then, Bobby? Like if a trapline doesn't go to a family member, like who does it go to?
It can go to another native person, which is that's the way we were taught by our elders. There was family traplines that were set aside for First Nations, and we've actually lost quite a bit already. And then we basically just the process is supposed to be it's supposed to come through Treaty 8 before it's approved to anybody else, but we're still not getting notified by the government, even though we had signed an MOU back in 2018 with the governments, and nothing's being followed still to this day.
So why are these trap lines being not handed down? Like I'm just curious of the process of how these trap lines are getting out of the family's trap line.
Well, it's just the way they've changed quite a bit. Like the way we grew up and the way we were taught by our elders was the family trap lines we're supposed to be able to live out there 24/7, 365 days a year, to hunt, trap, gather, and fish. Which is basically all our inherent rights, right? And then, but the Alberta government sees it differently. They're trying to take away trap lines because people are not trapping, but they're staying out there, which the Alberta government does not see fit. But a lot of our trap lines have been decimated by industry, and people still go out there, but because they don't trap, most of the animals have disappeared because of logging and industry. And the Alberta government still expects people to trap, and they don't understand, or they had set up another NRTA for trapping as well, basically along with the industry.
Okay, and I want to stick on the same logic as trapping, but I want to get to some of what you do. And you've been known to take youth on the land to teach them the basics of trapping. So what can youth expect when they attend one of your camps?
For us, it's basically to respect the land, the animals, and understand how the animals move, what times of the year you trap them, and how to properly set traps and snares. Understanding that there is new regulations set in place that everybody must follow. Like Alberta's got the highest standards for trapping regulations. So there's all certified equipment you have to use, and then how to look after the animal after you've caught it, and then preparing it, and like prepare for market. And basically the process goes as far as drying the fur, and then we ship most of ours to auction. And there's certain species nowadays that you don't ship to auction because of the market isn't there. So it's easier to try and get it canned and sell it commercially or locally with some people that still do mucklucks and stuff like that.
So Bobby, why is it so important for the youth to learn these skills and to learn how to be on the land?
To me, it's very important because they're the next generation to look after our family trap lines, and I always try and teach them that to practice all their inherent rights, not just like trapping, but everything that goes with it. And then Yeah, and if the family trap lines, like there's big families they could actually go to, but like the way I explained it was, if you don't have a trapper's course, or if you're not, the government thinks you need to trap for 3 years before you can get a trap line. But we've actually won a couple that basically went to family that, even though they haven't really trapped in years, and they didn't have the course, but we got them the course. And but the youth is the next generation to keep our family trap lines going.
And what kinds of things can the youth do with the knowledge that they learn in part from you? Have some of them become certified trappers or anything like that?
Yeah, well, for me, basically, I just teach the basics, and then they can take the 3D course, and I am actually a certified instructor through Alberta Trappers Association. We work with them, but like the basics is the first step. Like you need to be out there on the land to know how things move and stuff like that. And but we face a challenge all the time because it's actually quite costly to start trapping, especially you got to get the certified equipment. And so we're trying to help them in ways that Treaty 8 will supply the course for them, will pay the course, and if they take the 3D course, to get them started.
So what's trapping like in your area, Bobby? I know you had mentioned industry has had an impact. Are you seeing more animals or less than years past? Like, I'm curious to know like how it's been in the last few years or last number of years compared to previous.
Like for me, the trap lines I trap my uncle's trap line right in the Wabasca area, and then I have my north trap line, which is further up north past Chip Lakes. Mine, though, industry hasn't really affected those trap lines. So for me, it hasn't been a big issue yet, but I've got lots of local trappers that like over half of their trap lines have been decimated. And the worst part is it's clear cut logging. If they went back to the old way of logging, which was the checkerboard kind of thing, which was just basically taking the old growth and then leaving a lot of the smaller trees. But now it's just too much clear cutting is the problem. And then, of course, the animals disappear. Once it's clear cut, they got nowhere to go.
So, Bobby, where do you see trapping, or where do you hope to see trapping in the future, in the next few years, and along the line as the youth, that some of the youth that you teach get older? Like, where do you hope to see trapping in the next number of years?
Well, I'm hoping it stays strong. And I know it's been tough trying to, as far as everybody else, all the trappers I know, is like, with the auction market being low right now because of all the happenings up in Europe, because Europe is the biggest buyer of fur. But we got to start thinking outside the box and try and sell some fur locally. But one obstacle is you can't sell fur unless it's tanned. And the tanning process is quite another step, which is another part of after basically trapping is the easy part. Tanning is a whole different story. So we got to try and work with the governments to try and sell some raw fur before it's tanned, which then the people buying the raw fur can tan it themselves the way they want it.
And before we let you go here, Bobby, I just wanted to ask sort of an overall question of, what's the importance of trapping and just being on the land in general?
Well, for me, I feel a lot better when I'm out there on the land. It's like self-care. It takes a lot of stress away, but like I said, to start out trapping, it's quite expensive, but it brings a lot of, for me, it brings a lot of joy to be out there. And like a lot of young people, we got to get them to see the big picture and not just the way, like we get lots of questions, well, why do you harvest that animal? So it's a long process, but hopefully we'll get more youth interested. And if that's the case, and then our family trap lines will be safe with the families up in the north.
Well, we're going to have to leave it there. Bobby, I want to say a big thank you, Miigwech, to you for sharing some of your insight, some of your knowledge into trapping and sort of what goes on in your area and some of what you do. So again, thank you, Miigwech, for taking some time with us.
Yeah, you bet.